Hello. Today, the title of our talk is Discipline-Specific Information Literacy. My name is Dr. Laura Clark Hunt, and the other speaker is Dr. Janet Kapowsko. So we're going to talk about a grant that we worked on together along with some other faculty members. The grant was funded by the USG Affordable Learning Georgia grant that focused on continuous improvement of OER resources for faculty members to implement in the classroom. Information literacy, discipline-specific information, as seen by Miller, basically looks at information literacy knowledge and the way it is infused through the framework into course materials. The collaboration, the disciplines that were a part of the collaboration were biology, psychology, chemistry, and land management, as well as a library director. The student population at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College is just over 4,000 students. It is located in a rural area of Georgia. About 30% of the students are first-generation students, and about 45% are Pell Grant recipients. This gives us some information into the lack of resources and the need for extra support for these students to do well and be successful as they work toward their undergraduate degree. So some lessons learned from the librarian perspective for each of the disciplines that were a part of this grant are as follows. So the land management discipline had basically no peer-reviewed literature available to support the writing of the chapter and activities that were incorporated into the curriculum. Any information that was found had to be done from other disciplines such as forestry or other STEM-based disciplines. Chemistry, though, for example, had an extensive amount of peer-reviewed literature that could be incorporated. The American Chemical Society has done a wonderful job at facilitating information literacy throughout the discipline. An area of biology that seems to be a problem area is data sharing. There's a lack of congruency among biologists. They don't always use the same software. They don't always report the same criteria. And so sharing data for further research is a real issue. Psychology had some issues with theories and how they go to formulate the research questions. Different theories such as cognitive versus behavioral do not go to formulate the exact same wording and type of research questions. And so this was an aspect that I myself was not aware of, even though I have used theories in the past in much of my research.
As the faculty member in the psychology discipline working on the grant, there were also several things that I learned from being a part of the grant. One thing is that being a part of this grant gave me an opportunity to focus more on information literacy skills in my research methods course. Research Methods is an upper division course, but at our college, we don't have a first year experience course where all students are taught about information literacy. So even in upper division courses, students might not have had formal information literacy instruction and might lack some of those skills. Another thing that I learned is more about what's been published on information literacy. The library director asked each of the faculty members to write a chapter on information literacy on our discipline. And that gave me the opportunity to read more about information literacy, specifically with regard to psychology. And I wasn't aware of a lot of those studies prior to writing the chapter. Now, the library director provided each of the faculty members an outline to follow in writing our chapter so that we would have some consistency. And as I was addressing the points on the outline, I felt like some of what I was writing was just common sense. But when the other people on the grant read it, they said it wasn't common sense. It was only common sense for people in my discipline. And the same happened with them. When they were writing things in their chapter, they felt like some of it was common sense, but to me, it was new knowledge. And then being part of the grant gave me the opportunity to use some new tools and resources. My students and I were given access to UNO, which is a database for searching for sources. And although I don't see myself continuing to use UNO in the future, it was good for me and the students also to have a sense of what types of tools are out there. If we were to repeat a project similar to this in the future, there are several things that we would keep the same, but also some things that we would like to add or expand upon. One thing is that there was limited collaboration among the faculty members on the grant. Each of the faculty members worked closely with the library director, and we did have group team meetings, but in the future, perhaps there could be more collaboration with the faculty where we could sit in on each other's classes or review each other's course materials. As part of the grant, each of the faculty is making their materials for teaching about research as inquiry publicly available as open educational resources. And in the future, perhaps we could develop more materials that could also be made into OERs. And if we were to do a similar grant in the future, we would like to address additional frames of the ACRL framework because we only focused on the frame for research as inquiry. In conclusion, this grant was a valuable experience for both the faculty and the students who were a part of it. And strengthening information literacy skills will help students not only to do well in their courses, but also to evaluate information critically in everyday life. Thank you.